warmer in the library than it was yesterday. City Hall is the capital rotunda of silence. Bars, beer signs, ice cream sanity is the world. Beige dignity is silence and sanity. Busy the Lord is nobody's shepherd. Beige beer signs, the desert flowers, the desert caucus. Little Lord Fauntleroy freaked out every first Friday. Sixth-rate sonnet B. Predicament, Tokay, Toddy, cares, cast a spell. Castro, who done it, fire engine, firmament, fractured firecraft, pictures of men who bathe their illumined orgy, who's who in happiness. Hussies hurrying along the attack waves, Altamont is an altar for Israelis, Rouse, Rotten Raja. Loyalty is for lovers, louses, and leeches. Can't speak, cast a spell. Cast the hex in foreign tongues. Examiner, all idle wives are lascivious. Cavorting is for courtesans. Fax is for frantic fishes. Bobby Fischer says hello. Continued. Every sonnet is a destitute dilettante in a drizzle. Shine it. Gala lust things put on poor Monday's fist flames, say, gainsay. I hesitate to hesitate every way. May I say every day to every man's door his poor cottage music, more now less than his spoutings, say his less than noble rages. May heaven know more than the score I keep, heaven wrapped around a door full of candy and flowers. Mouse and moose knockabout cane sound. Some sense no when I say house and home, house or home question mark, space and time, I worship in the dark.
Thank you, Mr. Alden.
Thank you very much.
All right. Louis, then David, then Hal, then Stephanie, then Clara, then Kathleen, then Deb, Boppers. So, Louis, come on up here. Special and when you come up, watch out for the wires on the floor since they can be a hazard.
I want to have a Louis killer.
No. Do I. All right. I shall stop.
This is one half of a story called Rose Petals, Petal 3, about my granddaughter. I mentioned that Rose is shy, but that is not completely true. She is shy before she gets to know you. Then watch out. She also eagerly awaits my visits. That is pleasantness I think no one else does anymore. Age will do that to you. As excited as I feel sometimes visiting, I notice that my excitement is not always shared by the younger generation. The younger generation, if male, looks at you as if looking at a stone. The younger generation, if female, looks right through you, while the younger generation, if your own kids, looks at you as if counting screws to determine how many you may be missing. With the way younger generation, however, it's a different matter. Excitement for a 2-year-old does not require a whole lot. Everything new that does not cause pain is exciting. The other day I scheduled a visit. I find it is best that way. You don't just pop in anymore. The younger generation may be engaged in much more important things than visiting with you. Une personne d'un certain âge. But not so the much younger generation. My son told me that Rose followed him around all morning asking when I was coming. Or rather, when he and she were going to the train station to pick me up. Yes, going to the train station was exciting in itself. At 10, it might still be exciting, but at 20, it is probably not. At 2, however, it is something you might easily anticipate with excitement all morning. And then for her grandfather to be there too. Wow, that was excitement. Moreover, some bit of clever scheming had been involved as well. My son always drives his muscle car, a classic Chevy Chevelle, yellow with black racing stripes, to the station. But there's a problem. There there is no kids seat in the back, so Rose talked him into putting one of the kids seats from the family car into the rear seat of the Chevelle so that she could come along. How much more exciting could things get? Think like a 2-year-old ennui becomes a thing of the past. Coming from San Francisco, I got off the BART station at the Ashby station in Oakland, made a phone call, and within minutes the two arrived. Rose wore the smug look of someone who had concocted an elaborate scheme that had worked out perfectly. She looked like she was running a whole show, and perhaps she was. But planning didn't stop with our arrival at the house. She asked me to pick her up and carry her up the stairs to her room. I was thinking more along the lines of drinking a beer and while sitting on the couch and catching up with my son, but cooperated with her plan and carried her upstairs. There in her room, she quickly pulled books from her library, some in English, some in French, and we began reading. Her très belle maman is from Paris and talks to her mostly in French, while her father, my handsome son, speaks to her in English. I switch back and forth using the French if I know it. First, we read a book about a little French girl, Madeleine, who lives in a boarding school with 12 other young girls, and about the dog they all share getting lost or disappearing. Of course, there was no rest at the boarding school until the dog was found. And guess what? When the dog was finally found, it was giving birth to puppies, 12 of them. Each girl then had her own dog and was une personne très heureuse, a very happy person. If only real life worked out like that. I'm sure that if I had been in the story as Madeleine, I would have found my dog dead in the street, hit by a car, a story of misery compounded by death. That is at least the way it used to be with me. Then we read other stories, one about a friendly bear who saved people from fires. How many of those guys have you met? And one about a timid rabbit who barely escaped a clever murderous fox. I'm sure if I had been the rabbit, I would have been eaten alive by the fox. But I said nothing to Rose of that. She would find out soon enough how the world really works. And we read another one about a happy family that goes on a fishing vacation by a lake in the mountains and has no other problems other than that they forgot to bring a toothpaste. They survived for a week brushing without toothpaste. Imagine that. I could have told Rose a thing or two about hardship and refrained from doing so. I imitated brushing my teeth with my finger and spitting noisily into an imaginary sink. Rose found this funny and did the same, making even louder spitting sounds, more like someone throwing up. Anyway, we had a great time reading books, brushing our teeth with fingers. Then Rose started pulling clothes out of her closet. First, she got out another pair of shoes and socks and needed help putting them on. Papis, that is what she calls me, helped. I explained that name in Rose Petal's Petal 1, but let me explain it one more time, as you may not have read the first Rose Petal story. When I first started visiting Rose and her baby brother a few months back, I had kind of neglected my grandkids up to that point in time and had come under some criticism for it. Rose was confused about who I was. Her lovely mother and handsome father were calling me Papa Louis. What was this all about? Did she have more than one papa? Mom explained to her that I was Papa's papa, Papa de Papa. Amazing! She did not know he had one, too. She had thought that he was the source of all life or something like that. No, it turned out that he was just one of the links in the chain of life or something like that. Actually, I'm not sure what she thought, but it resolved some problem she had about who I was, and perhaps more importantly, she combined Papa Louis into a single unifying name, Papis. It was as though some fundamental religious or philosophical problem had been resolved and life could continue peacefully move forward until some new crisis of faith or belief arose. But that would be centuries off, right? Or at least not until lunchtime. Cut in the
middle. Oh, perfectly timed. All right. Mr. David Gollum? Gollum, good. He hasn't been here in a while, so give him a nice warm welcome. I'll make sure I said it right, because I could be saying it wrong.
Well, Billie Holiday would have been 100 years old on April 15th, 2015. April 7th, I mean. So I wrote a poem, MC Lady Day, age 100. Billie Holiday could have lived to be 100 like that great-grandmother of hers she tells of, and been still with us today. And if she were, even if she'd lost all her singing voice, she'd still be in the studio rhyming up and laying down raps over samples of her own record of Strange Fruit, about how we all have not abolished lynching, only given it to the cops to do for the white mob, which gets to watch at home now on TV or YouTube. The show must go on while the audience remains silent. Lady raised her voice in '39 when she was 24, and it was riskier in many places for a black woman to object to lynchings than for a white man to take part in one. At 100, certainly she wouldn't give a fuck, and would put it just that way. If any cop in the country wanted to shoot her for speaking up against continued terror, age could only have made her braver if she had lived till now, if she had beaten, as she would have had to, all the hard stuff, including booze. This one I wrote before Flint happened. It's called For Chester, Pennsylvania, Detroit, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, San Pablo, California, and other places. Elephants are people more than corporations are, more than humans are sometimes. Elephants in a herd approach and touch elephant bones, slowly, tenderly, bowing down. They will approach and touch human bones in the same way. Humans, meanwhile, will approach and touch live elephants to kill them and rob them of their teeth. So soon enough, there's likely to be no more elephants. To corporations, the working class is a dead elephant, only walking around, the rare, high-tech ivory, not harvested from its mouth quite yet. The rest of its disposal challenge. What, if anything, human does any corporation in the herd of them approaches or touch with any appearance of reverence? What, of anything that remains of anything human? A closed hospital, a closed school, blocks without water, whole rotting cities.
That's what it's for.
Hey, David.
Long time. All right. May we have Mr. Hal Robbins come forward, please?
Mr. Howard.
Nice. We have your paper all ready to go right here, please.
Okay, great. I'm going to read a short piece by James Thurber from his book Fables for Our Time. Just 2 paragraphs, and if there's any time after that, I'll say a short one. This is called The Moth and the Star. A young and impressionable moth once set his heart on a certain star. He told his mother about this, and she counseled him to set his heart on a bridge lamp instead. Stars aren't the thing to hang around, she said. Lamps are the thing to hang around. You'll get somewhere that way, said the moth's father. You don't get anywhere chasing stars. But the moth would not heed the words of either parent. Every evening at dusk, when the star came out, he would start flying toward it. And every morning at dawn, he would crawl back home, worn out with his vain endeavor. One day, his father said to him, "You haven't burned a wing in months, boy, and it looks to me as if you were never going to. All your brothers have been badly burned flying around street lamps, and all your sisters have been terribly singed flying around house lamps. Come on now, get out of here and get yourself scorched. A big strapping moth like you without a mark on him." The moth left his father's house, but he would not fly around street lamps, and he would not fly around house lamps. He went right on trying to reach the star, which was 4 1/3 light years, or 25 trillion miles away. The moth thought it was just caught in the top branches of an elm. He never did reach the star, but he went right on trying, night after night. And when he was a very, very old moth, he began to think that he really had reached the star, and he went around saying so. This gave him a deep and lasting pleasure, and he lived to a great old age. His parents and his brothers and his sisters had all been burned to death when they were quite young. Moral: who flies afar from the sphere of our sorrow is here today and here tomorrow. So let me see if I can do this one, which is short. Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that ice is also great and would suffice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great voice as he's been called. All right. The next set of readers, we have Stephanie Manning, then Clara, then Kathleen, then Dan Boppers, then Richard coming back for the open, and Cal Nightingale. Before what would be our feature, but since we don't have one, then we may or may not take a break. And then we have the Urban Cowboy, Greg Pond, and Garrett Murphy just walking. So put him on there. Jimmy's not here, so give Stephanie a load of applause.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Nice to see everybody here. The train is leaving. The train has left San Jose, has left Fremont, has left Hayward, has left San Leandro, approaches the city of Emeryville, city of the Oaks Card Club, the city run by graft and corruption, the city that disdains its own history, the city that conspired to demolish the biggest shell mound of California Indians. Emeryville's only real claim to fame. The train approaches the station there, built on top of toxic waste and declared a brownfield by the EPA. The decorative palm trees, weak and brown and planted in corruption. The train approaches with caution, as well it should. Soon it will depart for the formerly enlightened city of Berkeley, which currently wishes it was Emeryville, only to pick up passengers and carry them east to the valley, where capitalism is slowly creeping, but whose stranglehold is not yet complete, as it expands like steam, but only if the fireman feeds the firebox on election day, a chance to change it all in 2016.
Nice.
And this one is called Concrete Decadence, and I wrote this after Bernie Sanders won New Hampshire last time.
Yeah.
Okay. New Art Museum at Berkeley. You can smell it across town. It reeks of a big money stench with its decadent interest in scratch and splash art and text imprinted on the canvas, devoid of color and meaning other than shades of gray. Until right in the middle of the new building, the one saving grace, an act of conscience, a stunning display of Pomo basketry, the only hope for this concrete and steel monster, and only because of its association with the great Pomo writer Otis Parrish and his archaeology friends at the Hearst Museum of Anthropology, reminding us of natural materials and the wide river between the millennia of animus devoted to the earth and the hyperextended lipstick of modern wealthy people with too much time on their hands. People in need of re-education. I want to see them in my kitchen at work washing apples and lifting 60-pound crates of milk. Only then will the winds of change blow the air clean of the stench of freshly poured pricey concrete and the color void of a decadent new museum. Change is in the air. In April is the 400th anniversary of the death of Shakespeare, so I'm going to read some Shakespeare. And this is, let me see, what am I reading? Sonnet 29. Oh boy, how am I going to see it? Okay, here we go. Sonnet 29. When in disgrace with fortune. Oh, by the way, this is a great book. I got it at my school's library, elementary school library, and it looks like a children's book, but it's actually excerpts of Shakespeare's speeches and sonnets, so it's actually very nice. I'm going to keep the whole 3 weeks. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone and beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising, from sullen earth sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. Thank you.
One of my favorites. And just so you know, coming up somewhere in the next 6 or 8 weeks, we're going to have a Shakespeare theme as part of what we do here. Per Stephanie's suggestion. Oh, you'll see. Great idea. So, anyway, Morgan Fairchild,
Marlon Brando,
Adam Sandler, Pikachu,
Linda Lovelace,
Lauren Bacall. That brings us to Clara Sue,
oh,
the Monkey King. The Monkey King, I forgot.
Happy Chinese New Year, everybody. Gong Hei Fat Cai. So here is the Year of the Monkey poem. The key is not the money. The key is in the monkey. 360 degrees of somersault is the ultimate glee. The key can't beat the monkey, for he's an absentee, roiling in the cosmic dust, mischief's devotee. The key must be in money, for money makes you free. All things can be bought and sold, this uncanny latchkey. Money is in the monkey, monkeys in the money. The progeny of heaven and earth, life's consummate lessee. Intelligence is money that monkey can guarantee to survive the wild and not get mauled. Use well this precious money. Craftiness is monkey scheming for your honey. When money is fraught with peril and fraud, one sneeze, all gone with a monkey. Well, this money and monkey, neither is a peewee. Now they join hands and take us all hurtling down the screen.
Monkey King.
I kept debating whether I should read this, but this was written with a theme in mind, and also what Dan sent out last week, I think, about the poet the Palestinian poet in Saudi Arabia, Ashraf Fayyad. He was not going to be beheaded, but they're going to put him in jail for 8 years, and he's to receive 800 lashes.
And he's supposed to renounce his poetry.
Yeah, renounce the poetry.
800 lashes?
Yes.
Well, not all at once. It's going to be
It gets to
over
be
the course
spread
of 6
out.
Over the course of
That's so gracious of them.
times. Okay, so this is titled In This Vein. Poets are followed by errant men. Behold how aimlessly they rove in every valley, preaching what they never practice. The Quran. 26, passage 26, 224 to 226 lines. First lash, my supremacy. Second lash, a warning. Third lash, for all to see. Fourth lash, your insolence. Fifth lash, my revenge. Sixth lash, your screams. Seventh lash, my hunger. Eighth lash, blood. Ninth lash, for apostasy. 10th lash, blood. 11th lash, gratifies. 12th lash, hatred. 13th lash, crushes. 14th lash, all dissent. 15th lash, I judge. 16th lash, you die. Repeat this 50 times. The kingdom is saved. The prophet is restored.
Thank you, Clara Sue. Wow. All right. Thank you. Now we have someone who hasn't been here in a long time, but she's back here tonight. Kathleen Wood, why don't you come on up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. That's on it. Here we go. Complementary demons. We were lying in bed. The space heater was whirring in that hypnotic way it has of whirring, and it was warm and our bodies fit together so nice, like we were twin caterpillars in a cocoon. We were digesting our steaks. He started stroking my belly around where my liver is, and I felt something race through my liver and out my elbow. I mentioned this occurrence, and he started making motions like pulling strands of something from my stomach, and I could see in my mind's eye these long worms being removed from my liver. And he was talking about how Antoinette used to do the same thing with Larry, and how he'd never believed it, but that psychic healing stuff was real. And then I reached into his being and started tugging on this hideous thing with roots, and I yanked it out by the roots, and then the next one was a worm, and it wriggled back into his body. And the next one whispered to my brain, "You don't really want to fuck with us, now do you?" And I didn't persist. He told me he was possessed by thousands of hideous demons like a Geiger painting, and I shouldn't try to pull them out because he needed them. And anyway, if I pulled them out, they might enter me and possess me, and then what would I do? I thought that was a good point. And I wondered, were his demons aggressive, whereas mine were passive or catatonic or dead? Was there an analogy in our births? He came in kicking and screaming while I refused to breathe and turned blue. Passive aggression meets terrorism, sadism to masochism. Is that why we lie in bed together like this, as the space heater whirs like it always does, for complementary demons? So I'm for that one. I wrote a poem to Danielle, so this is called Sister Death. I perform better when you're not around. The stations of sex are profound and heady and overwhelming like a hammer blow, and I'd love to sink into the mire, but there you are, with your supercilious fashion plate pop persona, standing above us all like a general in a conquering army. Your intellect is your winning card, cold, ambitious, sterile. Your sex is shadow play, like your hair and your vintage vampire dresses. Your celestial harps mutate into the dirge of the creep show as you ornament yourself in the rotting carcasses of Sid and Nancy. In the plague years, drugs replaced sex, kabuki masks replaced drugs, and the Red Death enveloped all. In the Red Room, where I met you, Sister Death, my heat battling your eyes until all that remained was vapor. I perform much better when you're not around. Do I have time for one more, or where am I?
Here, a couple of minutes, that's good.
Okay. Let me find it. Enlightenment. So they told me if I kissed the asses of enough dead kings I could come home. But that's what all the gurus say, right? I never could grasp the concept. People with models of torture scenes around their necks. Statues of fat men beaming at me from souvenir stores. And Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. I can't sit still long enough to meditate. Don't ask me again. Brown rice terrifies me. I prefer my kings alive. For 3 years, Mark lived with me and figured out endless, unwise ways to spend what little money we had. He kept telling me the material plane was an illusion. He played songs by the Beatles and Donovan and Sandy Bull. He was a terrible way, so I didn't bother. He didn't seem to notice as he babbled on about Gurdjieff and Mayor Baba. He couldn't understand why I didn't want to meditate. After I finally left him, he started hanging out with cafe paranoids who convinced him Jim Morrison was killed by Johnny Carson. Somebody was giving him coke. Hey, it's San Francisco, what do you expect? Then he disappeared. Maybe he's in some Tibetan monastery, but he's probably in New Jersey. I guess it doesn't matter if it's all an illusion anyway. Besides, I never could kiss ass to dead kings, or even to Mark. But I wonder, Mark, wherever you are you enlightened yet? And can your angels explain to me why we spent 4 years of our lives drawing a picture and disappearing ink?
Kathleen Woods, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I got this book too, if anyone wants to buy a book. It's got...
There's a book here at
Yeah.
the break, and we will talk more now. All right.
You're there.
Oh, what a nice evening so far.
I say that for a reason.
All right.
So, Ode to P. Bless this water that has passed through me. Bless this water on its way to the wine-dark sea. May this water catch a moonbeam's glint just so, to shimmer in the eyes of a beauty's ardent face set aglow. Bless it in all the waters with which it flows and blends. Bless that in all the air in which its mingling vapor ascends. By this means bless the 7 winds which carry it away over the 7 seas to mountains, farmlands, every hill and dale, and into coastal fogs where it precipitates from trees. Nor forget sunset where its gleaming prism catches the sovereign's blazing rainbow hues, or in the moon's silvery light plays it at the limb of our pellicle of atmosphere to cast an eerie halo of high, austere, icy delight. Bless this water that once was I, that once was a part of my heart, mind, and eye. Bless this water from the one cup we share. Bless the passing of excess to spare. Yes, blessings pour each drop from the sky to clothe the world in the greenery we espy. Forever a river flows through us within. Thus do I offer unto thee this singular ode to P. And now from this book of mine, which is available in many ways. And then that segues to this one, so here we go. One small step. People remember that quote. It was a time of dreams when hope like never before had everyone looking up. All around the world they said, we did it. Not Americans, not they, but we. It was such a time as we saw what we could do, saw the fragile and singular blue, white, brown, and green marble rise above a haunting dead gray horizon, when chance became in favor of life, when justice, favored by the arc of history, took us all to the heights, to that mountaintop, from where we saw our home as just one small place amid a terrible, vast, cold, and dark, as had us then regard one another with a perspective that has made all the difference, and which yet plays out the world over, bringing us toward peace. Thank you. And I apologize to people who heard this yet last night, but part of my process is now coming back where I read things before I'm really finished with them. So I read it last night and then I made changes, so this is that. And it follows those two. Those two like lead to this. They call it a failed place. A place of dis-ease. A place where no one knows their place anymore. Where counting numbers and abstractions have become as real as that which is counted. And where they count everything. And everything is denominated. Even as the sacred, the eternal, have been forsaken, forgotten, even forsworn of its denizens' hearts. Hard as this is to believe, it is all of it true, and still there's more. What seems morally impossible, astonishingly, they dismember their network, act to consume it, using monstrous creations to dig, break, scorch, or bury their living sphere. Poisons are let to soak into soils which die, as do rivers. So that now, life is leaving a home world, something so incredibly rare, but it is happening, and in the unlikeliest place. Its beings, obsessions with possessions, real and not, have devolved, lost sight, and who, in their rage, extinguish their own kind, make coin from everything that lives, everything that dies. Its own denizens call it bedlam, pandemonium, a chaotic melee of enmity, a place of devouring, ruled over by soulless incorporates which mark everything with cold calculations, where hungry ghosts raise up the dead to worship an eternal evil that then thrives on their godlessness. It is a world of pain, where every joy is sufferance, love, wills, and their beliefs are simply not to be believed. This place, vast in abyssal sorrow, harbors more horrors than we can describe, such that all those in the vast deep reaches of this universe who feel kindness, know love, are soulfully connected to the great family, feel this disturbance in the force, and have come to know of this uniquity, this painful rift in the networks of amity. The cries from this place reach to all heaven, into all time, and so to the universes both before and yet to come. Such is the inheritance of separation, the yield of irrational passion and fear, the great bounty of forgetfulness, the ruination of rationality. Some call it the place of regret, others the lost place of ignorance. Some say it is ruined. This is why we, in our trillions of trillions, on those myriads of worlds set in their glittering heavens, have begun a chorale. We sing that this place may be soothed, for love to bloom and peace to hold sway, that the web of life will heal, and that the great song will return to that very strange planet, Earth.
Thank you so much. All right.
May we have Richard Sanderell come to the open mic, please? Richard Sanderell to the open mic, please. Richard Sanderell to the open mic, please.
Say, Greg, did I read the Miles Davis thing when you were here? Were you here last week?
No.
I'm repeating it.
All right. Cool. Hey, don't repeat things just because I do.
Everybody repeat here.
I try not to make it a habit, but yeah, I do okay.
That's what the nun said.
Are you sorry you came after everything happened? People haven't been around really sorry you came now.
I haven't even begun.
That's true.
Thank God.
Okay.
I just want to say one thing. I'm featuring at Folio Books on the 29th.
There is Folio Books.
It's on 24th Street across from that terrible place called Whole Foods in Noe Valley.
Well, none of us know where Whole Foods is.
I'm trying to remember what the cross street is. It's by Noe Street.
Sanchez.
Yeah, by Noe Street. And then you can't miss it if you Noe Street.
What time?
It is going to be at 7 o'clock. Thank you for asking. I like that man.
And see him at the break. He will give you all the details.
And this is on the 29th,
The
correct?
29th. Only one of those this year.
9 and Sunday.
All right, well, I guess I better start my thing here.
What'd you say?
That's what I said.
Okay.
Well, let's do the Miles Davis thing.
All
I
right.
might
That's a
rather hear this. All right. Miles Salim Davis Savad. If William Shakespeare and Miles Davis had been alive at the same time and had electricity, imagine the collaboration in words and music. Bitches Brew, a soundtrack to Macbeth. Toil and trouble and the witches' bitches brew. The musical riffs of the clarion trumpet alerts you to the darkness as in matter and in truth. Miles melodically hits his notes, leaving space, announces the Magus sorcerer. Miles is talking to you. He dances, jabs, uppercuts. He is the trumpet boxer. His music is of toil and trouble, sadness and joy. It is live evil. And he really doesn't give a shit whether you like it or not. This is the new direction in music. This is not jazz. Miles and his fellow musicians electrified, sanctified the fusion. Miles announces the witches brew on bitches brew. The witches begin their dance of toil and trouble. Lady Macbeth as she loses her mind in her dance. The empire will pay. The purists will be in their death throes. But the variety of interpretations while keeping the truth keeps both of them alive. That doesn't mean abandonment of the original. We all have ours, but it was Miles who saved my sanity, as he may have begun to lose his. He gave me my musical truth, what others saw as sellout. For me, his music was what was inside me. I love Coltrane, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, but Miles came in my time. The Stones give me shelter, the violent anthem of these times. Rape, murder, it's just a shot away, sung by one of the greatest female singers ever, Mary Clayton. While Miles was telling you these stories as well, he barely, if any, got airplay on the radio, and albums were left unpromoted. He was still young enough to do it. Miles was reporting through his music, but you had to be quiet and listen. Well, anyway, that's the dream that's in my head. If it never happens, I'm okay with that. I get to see, hear, and smell it, not of hell, but of Earth's sulfured cauldron every time I hear it. Oh, let's be silly. Love loses its mind. Love loses its mind. I am at the checkout counter when a woman comes running in, desperate, frantic. She asks if you found my glove. I said, yes, I had. I found it desperate in the rain in sheer terror. It looked around in every direction, becoming untethered. People walked by, even a rat blowing trash blew by, but not a sign of its mate or its wearer, and still, it was still out of sight, that gave this glove the blues most high. I decided to pick it up and take it into the store before who knows what befalls it. It wouldn't go, but I am stronger. I am man. So I still couldn't calm it down. It was hysterical until you came in, and now it's home with you and its mate. The three of them made such a great threesome, I asked them if I could join. Oh, let's be silly again. I don't know why I'm being silly. Oh, well, here's a few shards.
Got my
A fire in St. Louis burns underground 1,000 feet from a nuclear dump site where people suffer high rates of cancer and worry about their future. And we go shopping. All right, that's enough of that shard. Beauty lost. I stood on the wet sidewalks of San Francisco, streets, sidewalks slick, sanitized, cleaned, all gussied up, pretty. City has its makeup on, and it's been a while since she's had her sheen, her lights alive on skins of snakes. Electric snakes, moving, undulated, can be fun. Elder, when first came to see San Francisco in the late 40s, weeps at the beauty, seeing the lights that twinkled and bordered with the darkness of the bay. The city charm seduces one away from the road one is on. This is the end game, the place you may have come for. Stay, take her in, but learn her secrets. San Francisco is a home for some, carnival to others, as well as carnivores, not just of the flesh, but of the soul as well. Built on the shell mounds of the graves of the Ohlone, her past is soiled and sullied. It is the unseen that she doesn't want you to know or see. It is their stories we should want to hear. Even beauty has its ugly side.
Good. You own your device. All right, Mr. Sanderell. Now, we're going to have Al Nightingale come up next. Then we're going to take a brief break because we have the Urban Cowboy, Greg Pond, Garrett Murphy, and Jimmy Mankind as our mini. Remember, our theme of the evening, such if you would care to deal with it, is in a similar vein, or vein, or vein, or vein. Bring him up, please, and get a nice round of applause.
My days are stories without narrators, and if you care, it's them that I offer. Not in the mailbox law they rate you, but in beehives and in burrows of gophers. A list of moves, but not big shake, with sacred coniferums of warm walls. From the core wander in leaves of the white cherries, and from the core like gloomy rain flows, shining through with the magic pep of the future days to the last leavers. If only they could find you, my girl. I only hope that they'll be believers. How frolicsome was to run in the pre-night autumn storm. Ringing minutes, I appeal over the large pearls of